This call is now being recorded.
Okay, so good morning all once again. So yesterday we have started the problems based on the calculation of volumetric stress, volumetric strain, and the change in volume calculation. And related to that, the three problems we have solved yesterday. The first two problems are related to the uniaxial condition. Uniaxial means your metallic bar or maybe rod is there. It is subjected to the force in only one direction. In only one direction means that force is applied in x direction only. So that problem number one and problem number two, whatever we have solved, it comes under the category of uniaxial condition. Now the third problem we have solved related to the triaxial condition. The triaxial means the forces are applied on the metallic bar in all the three directions, means one force is applied in x, another force in y, and third force is applied in the z direction. And we have solved that problem also. That is, we have calculated the volumetric strain, that is EV, and also we have calculated the change in volume, which is represented by delta V. And based on this, now whatever the problem is in front of you, this problem I have given for your exercise. We have to solve at your home. So the 2-3 students, they have solved, they got the answer. Others, please try to solve this particular problem. We will solve it now simultaneously. So this is the problem. If you read the statement, that is a metallic bar of 200 mm by 100 mm by 50 mm. 200 mm by 100 mm by 50 mm is loaded, shown in the figure. So whatever the loading diagram is there, that loading diagram is given here, and they are interested to find out the change in volume. That means we have to calculate the change in volume, that is delta V we have to calculate. So whatever the dimensions are given, 250 mm by 100 mm by 50 mm, this L into B into D, or we can consider it as a thickness. So L into B into D, these three dimensions are given. Then the body is subjected to the triaxial condition, because in the loading diagram the three forces are applied. One force is applied in x direction. What is that? 400 kilonewton. Another force in y direction, that is 4 meganewton. According to its direction, this force applied in y direction is a compressive, and third force is applied in z direction, that again 2 meganewton, it is tensile. Then Young's modulus constant parameter is given, mu Poisson's ratio is also given. Okay, so if I write down the given parameters, so total given parameters, length is equal to 250 mm, then B is equal to 100 mm, and depth, or you can consider thickness, is equal to 50 mm. Okay, so these are the dimensions given. Then as the body is subjected to the triaxial condition, so I will write all the forces. Px is equal to 400 kilonewton. Here only you have to convert in Newton. 400 into 10 raised to 3. 400 into 10 raised to 3. Then Py is given minus 4 meganewton. Here only you write down the negative sign. So 1 meganewton, we know that 1 meganewton is equal to 10 raised to 6 Newton. So take this particular term in your notebook at the top. So 1 meganewton is equal to 10 raised to 6 Newton. Therefore, Py is given minus 4. Therefore, minus 4 into 10 raised to 6 Newton. Similarly, Pz, how much? 2 meganewton, and it is tensile. Therefore, 2 meganewton. So 2 into 10 raised to 6 Newton. Already Young's modulus is given here, mu is given, and we have to calculate the change in volume. So as this particular body is subjected to the triaxial condition, so according to the triaxial condition, that is as per triaxial condition, we are having the formula for the volumetric strain calculation, because to calculate the change in volume, first of all we have to calculate the volumetric strain, that is sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z divided by E in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. But sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, it is not given. Therefore, first sigma x is equal to px upon ax. Tell me the values. Sigma y is equal to minus py divided by ay is equal to and sigma z is equal to Pz divided by Ez. So the forces are already given. So Px is equal to 400 into 10 raised to 3 divided by cross-sectional area B into D means 100 into 50. Here minus, what is the value of
80 Newton per mm square.
just what is value of sigma x?
80 Newton per mm square.
Yes. Then sigma y is given minus 4 into 10 raised to 3. Sorry, 10 raised to 6. It is mega Newton. Okay. Divided by L into B. L is given 250. B is given 100. So sigma y. Similarly, 2 into 10 raised to 6 Pz. Their dimensions 250 into depth 50 is equal to. Now find the value of sigma y. It is
minus
minus
160 Newton per
Minus
mm.
160.
minus 160 Newton
minus
per
160
mm square.
Newton per mm square.
Yes. And what is sigma z?
160 Newton per mm square.
164.
160 Newton per mm square. If you forgot to take this particular negative sign for the sigma y, your final answer will be wrong. Therefore, in the given parameter itself, in the given itself, I have written Py is equal to minus 4 mega Newton. Therefore, minus 4 into 10 raised to 6. So, in the calculation, I can put the minus value in the formula. So, I can take that minus value in our further calculation. Now, therefore, EV is equal to sigma x 80, sigma y minus 60, sigma z plus 60 divided by, what is the Young's modulus? Young's modulus is equal to
2 into 10
10
raised to 5.
10 raised to 5.
1.6 into 10 raised to minus
2 into 0.3. So volumetric strain is equal to how much? 1.6 into 10 raised to minus.
minus 4.
So this is volumetric strain. Then we can calculate the change in volume. EV is equal to change in volume upon original volume. So EV is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 4. Change in volume, we have to calculate volume, original volume 250 into 100 into 50. Therefore,
200 mm cube.
dV is equal to 200 mm. In some of the problems, you will get this particular change in volume in negative. Negative means we can say that there is a decrease in volume. Now here, the 200 mm cube, this is the positive terms. Means we can say that after applying the forces in the 3 directions, whatever the change in volume is taking place, that change in volume is goes on increasing. If you will get the negative term, then we can say that after applying the number of forces, the change in volume, whatever value you got, that change in volume, it will get decreases. Okay, please check your answers. Delta V is equal to 200 mm cube. Have you calculated? Do the calculations and try to represent your final answer. Now it is sufficient, whatever the change in volume we have calculated. This is EV is equal to 0.00016. It is also accepted, no problem. In point, you have written this particular value. 200 mm cube, change in volume. This is the correct answer. So those who have not solved, try to solve it, this particular problem. The statement is in front of you. Initially, you have to focus on the number of loads and their directions. Number of loads and their directions. Okay. So I hope everyone has calculated. So 200 mm cube. This is the correct answer. Very simple problem is there. Only change is that the forces are given in kilonewton, some forces are given in meganewton, and out of the three forces, one force is given in compressive directions. Okay, so this is the one problem we have solved. Now we move to the last problem based on this particular volumetric strain or change in volume calculation. So this is also one variety. In the statement, some different words are there. Up till now, what are the problems we have solved? In that, maybe sometimes the loading diagram is given, or the member is subjected to the 5 kilonewton, 3 kilonewton, 6 kilonewton force in X, Y, and Z direction respectively. Like that, the statement will be given. But some of the problems are there in which some two different words are given, and according to that words, first of all, we have to resolve that particular forces in that particular direction, and next procedure is same. So what is the problem? Just I will read here. A steel bar 65 by 65 mm or 65 mm by 65 mm in section and 190 mm long. A steel bar of 65 mm by 65 mm in section and 190 mm long is subjected to load of 290 kilonewton along longitudinal axis. 290 kilonewton along longitudinal axis. Now tell me, 190 mm, this is the length. Then what is that 65 mm by 65 mm? Which parameters are there?
B into D.
B into D. That means value of B is equal to 65 as well as value of D is equal to 65, because the length of that particular section is separately given. How much? 190 mm. Therefore, L is equal to 190 mm. I will write. Then B is equal to D is equal to 65 mm. Okay. Now 190 mm is subjected to load of 290 kilonewton along longitudinal axis. Now longitudinal axis means
Linear.
longitudinal or linear means your x-axis. Longitudinal or linear means your x-axis, means 290 kilonewton force is applied along the linear, or we can say that this 290 kilonewton force is applied along the length of 190 mm. That means 290 kilonewton, I can say that Px is equal to 290 kilonewton is equal to 290 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Okay, 290, and tensile load of 750 kilonewton, 500 kilonewton on lateral faces. Lateral faces means remaining two directions. Lateral faces means Y and Z axis. Okay, X 290 kilonewton force is applied along the longitudinal axis. Longitudinal means linear, means we can say this 290 kilonewton force is applied along the length. Along the length, the length is in horizontal direction, means Px is given, and tensile load of 750 and 500 kilonewton on lateral faces. Lateral faces means Y axis and the Z axis. Therefore, Py is equal to 750 kilonewton, 750 into 10 raised to 3 Newton, and Pz is equal to 500 kilonewton is equal to 500 into 10 raised to 3. All are tensile. For the 290 kilonewton, they have not used the word like a tensile or compressive. If it is not mentioned, means we can consider it as a tensile. But for 750 and 500 kilonewton, which is represented on this particular lateral faces, they have represented the word tensile load. That means Py and Pz, these are also under the tensile condition. Okay, so these are the given parameters. Whatever the 750 kilonewton is given, always consider this first value as a Y, and this second 500 kilonewton, this will be considered as a Z. Or sometimes the word is mentioned X, Y, Z direction respectively. We have solved related to that problem in the previous or in the yesterday's lecture. But now here The longitudinal axis means horizontal axis, means the force is applied in x direction. So you have to consider that magnitude, and remaining two forces are applied on a lateral faces. So please keep in mind, lateral faces means remaining two directions we have to consider, that is y axis and the z axis. So please take this particular two important notes. Longitudinal axis or linear axis is equal to x axis, and remaining lateral faces or lateral axes means y and the z axis. Now these are the given parameters. Find the change in volume, find the change in dimensions of the bar and change in volume. Change in dimensions means we have to calculate delta L, also we have to calculate delta B, also we have to calculate, and delta D also we have to calculate. In addition to that, we have to calculate the change in volume also. Young's modulus, this is the constant parameter given, 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square. Mu is also given 0.3. Okay, so these are all the parameters. From this, if I will draw the figure, always try to draw the figure so it will be easy to understood. Okay, so this is the figure. The length is given how much? 190 mm length is given, 65 mm width is given, and this 65 mm depth is given. The force along the x-axis 290 kilonewton tensile. The force along y-axis how much? 750 kilonewton, and the force along z-axis, this is 500 kilonewton. So this is the figure, that is one bar is there having dimensions 190 by 60 by 65 mm, subjected to the forces. One force is applied in longitudinal means 290, remaining two forces on lateral faces means 750 and the 500 kilonewton. So this type of words, longitudinal axis and lateral faces, such types of the words are mentioned in the statement. So please keep in mind once again, longitudinal means linear, means it is applied in x-axis, and remaining two are represented by the lateral faces or lateral direction, means your y-axis and the z-axis. Now solve the problem immediately. You are having all the given parameters. Now tell me the value of all the important terms. So now just here I will write only the value of sigma x directly, sigma y directly, and sigma z directly. Then EV
Sigma
I
x
will
63.
yes, try to solve the problem.
Sigma x 68.63, sir.
Yes, I will check. Sigma x is equal to 60
8.63.
8.63.
8.63 Newton per mm square. Please check. Others,
Yes.
please check. Here I am writing direct
Sigma
value.
y. Sigma y, sir.
Sigma y, how much?
2.72 Newton per mm square.
60.72
72 Newton per mm square. This is sigma.
square. Sigma z, sir. 40.48 Newton per mm square.
Yes, 40.48 Newton per mm square. Others, please do the calculation.
EV, sir. 3.39 into 10 raised to minus 4.
3.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is EV. Then EV is equal to change in volume upon original volume. Therefore, change in volume is equal to
65 to 65. 190 into 65 to 65. Sir,
Others, please do the
272.66.
yes,
272.66 mm cube.
272.66 mm cube. This is change in volume. Yes, others, please do it. Start your calculation. It is very simple. All the forces are tensile. Therefore, sigma x is equal to px upon ax, sigma y is equal to py upon ay, sigma z is equal to pz upon az. We are having all the cross-sectional areas. Then find out the volumetric strain for the triaxial condition. We are having the formula. And after that, find out the change in volume. So change in volume is equal to 272.66 mm cube. To the calculations, and represent answer in the chat box. Then change in dimensions. Change in dimensions we have to calculate, means we have to calculate delta L, delta B, and delta D. So to calculate this particular change in dimensions, we are having the formula Ex is equal to delta L upon L. Then Ey is equal to delta D upon D, and Ez is equal to delta B upon B. So these three formulas we are having. But in this particular formulas, length is given, D is given, width is given. But to calculate the delta L, first of all, we have to calculate this epsilon X, we have to calculate this epsilon Y, and we have to calculate that particular epsilon Z. Yes, 272.13. This is also correct answer. Try to represent the final answer directly. Change in volume. Change in volume is equal to. Okay. Now the change in dimensions, we have to calculate delta L, delta B, delta D. But for that calculation, first of all, we have to calculate the strain in X direction, strain in Y direction, and strain in Z direction. So we are having that particular big formulas, whatever yesterday's we have discussed. Epsilon X is equal to epsilon Y is equal to epsilon Z is equal to. So what is that particular formula? Epsilon X is equal to sigma X upon E. This is linear strain because force is applied in X direction, minus mu into sigma Y upon E minus mu into sigma Z upon E. Why this minus? Because the force is applied in X direction, therefore the strain developed in Y direction and Z direction are lateral, therefore multiply by mu, and the dimensions in the Y direction and Z direction are goes on decreasing, therefore it is minus. Therefore epsilon X is equal to, put the value of sigma X, 68.63 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3 minus mu 0.3. I think how much mu is 0.3 into sigma Y, 60.72 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3 minus mu 0.3 into 40.48 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3. Therefore epsilon X is equal to, please remind this particular formula for the triaxial condition. Epsilon X is equal to linear strain X direction minus lateral strain in Y direction minus lateral strain in Z direction. Because during epsilon X calculation, we are considering that the force is applied in only X direction. Therefore, this first one is a linear strain and it is positive because length is increases. Remaining two directions, forces are not applied, then also strain is developed, therefore these are the lateral, therefore multiply by mu, and that strain is goes on decreasing, therefore epsilon X we have to calculate. This is epsilon X, then epsilon Y. While calculating epsilon Y, linear strain in Y direction, therefore sigma Y upon E, and remaining two directions are lateral strain, therefore mu into sigma X divided by E minus mu into sigma Z divided by E. Therefore epsilon Y, sigma Y 60.72 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3 minus mu 0.3 into sigma X 68.63 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3 minus mu again 0.3 into sigma Z 40.48 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3. Now find out the epsilon Y. Procedure is same. Now here only calculation part is important. So first of all, calculate sigma x upon E separately minus mu into sigma y upon E. Do the separate calculation. Then third term, do the separate calculation. And at the end, you have to go for the subtraction. Then third, epsilon z. Epsilon z means the force is applied in z direction, means the linear strain is developed in z direction, means sigma z upon E. This is the linear strain. It is positive because it is increases, and remaining two directions x and y. So in that remaining direction there is a lateral strain, therefore minus mu into sigma x upon E minus mu into sigma y upon E. Put the values. Epsilon z, sigma z 40.48 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3 minus 0.3 into sigma x 68.63 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3 minus 0.3 into sigma y 60.72 divided by 200 into 10 raised to 3. Therefore, epsilon z is equal to, yes, epsilon x is equal to do the calculations properly. Epsilon x is equal to, what is the value of epsilon x? 1 point, yes,
91
1.91,
191.85 आलाय सर.
191,
1.85.
yes, tell me properly.
197.35, sir.
197.35,
191.85 आलाय सर.
Yes, sir.
191
191. The digit will be accepted. Yes, 191.85.
35.
Yes, 85, 35. It depends upon the number of digit whatever you are considering.
सर मायनस मध्ये आलंय ह्याचं EY-चं.
Yes.
EY epsilon y-चं मायनस
Yes,
मध्ये
yes.
आलंय.
1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is also accepted. 1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. 1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. Please check epsilon x is equal to 1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. Please do the calculation properly. Here the calculation part is very, very important. Yes, 1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. Then find out the epsilon y. If you have calculated epsilon x, find out the value of epsilon y.
1.44
Epsilon y is equal to
44 into 10 raised to minus 4.
Yes, 1.44 into 10 raised to minus 4. Please check the answer. After the calculation of epsilon x, 1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is correct answer for the epsilon x. Then check the answer for the epsilon y. 1.44 into 10 raised to minus 4. Here the calculation part is very, very important.
139.33. 139.33. 93.
139.93. 139.93. Others, please do the calculation. 1.44 into 10 raised to minus 4. I am having the answer of epsilon y 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. Yes, 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. 1.44 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is far long, so please do the calculations once again, whether it is 1.44 or 1.39. 4.67. This is wrong. Revnath, do the calculations properly. Find out sigma y upon e separately. After that, mu into sigma x upon e separately. Parat mu into sigma z upon e separately. Do the separate calculation to the each term, and then at the end you just subtract it. Yes, 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. Instead of 44, I will consider 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is the correct answer for the epsilon y. 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. Epsilon y value. Yes, 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is correct. Then find out the epsilon z. If you have calculated epsilon x, epsilon y, then tell me the value of epsilon z. Calculate epsilon x, then epsilon y. After that, calculate the value of epsilon z. We are having the formula of epsilon z. Put all the values. Do the separate calculation of each term. Yes, 8.37 into 10 raised to minus 6. Epsilon z. So I will write 8.37 into 10 raised to minus 6. All are the unit list quantity. Please keep in mind. This is the strain values. All are the unit list quantity. So epsilon z, please check your answer. If you have calculated, yes, 8.38, then 8.37. It depends upon the number of digits. How many digits you are considering for the previous data? Yes, 8.37 into 10 raised to minus 6. This is also correct. 8.38, it is also correct. Calculate epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z. This calculation is very important. If you make mistake in this calculation, you will get the wrong dot of change in dimensions. Delta L will be wrong, delta B will be wrong, delta D will be wrong. So do the separate calculation to the each term, and at the end make the subtraction. So calculate epsilon x, epsilon y, and epsilon z. If you have calculated epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z, then find out the change in dimensions. So we are having the another three formulas. So epsilon x is equal to delta L upon L. Epsilon x we have calculated in the previous. How much? I can consider 1.91 into 10 raised to minus 4. Delta L I have to calculate. And what is the length? What is the length of this particular section? Whatever we have considered, length of the section is 190. Therefore, change in length. Then epsilon y is equal to delta D upon D. Epsilon y we have calculated. How much? Epsilon y is equal to 1.39. 1.39 into 10 raised to minus 4 is equal to delta D upon depth is given 65. And third, we are having epsilon z is equal to delta B upon B. So epsilon z just now we have calculated 8.37. So 8.37 into 10 raised to minus 6. Delta B we have to calculate. B is also given 65. Therefore, delta B is equal to. Do the calculations and tell me the answers. So
Sir,
first
DL
parameter
0.03.
Yes,
Delta DL 0.03.
just I will check. Delta L is equal to 0.03. 0.03 mm. This is the change in length. Then delta D. Delta D. D means along y-axis. Delta D is equal to 0.009. Yes, 0.009 mm. This is a change in depth, or we can consider change in height also. And third, delta B, change in width. Yes, 0.03 mm, 0.03, then 0.009. This is delta D. Now calculate the delta B, which is along the Z axis. Therefore, we have to consider the effect of Ez. What is delta B?
Five point 408 into 10 raised to
Yes,
minus 4.
5.44 into 10 raised to minus
408 into 10
minus
raised to minus
5.408.
408 into 10 raised to minus
No problem. Digits, it will be accepted. Therefore, delta B is equal to 0.000544 mm. 0.00054 mm. So please check your answer. 5.44 into 10 raised to minus 4 mm. So if I will write the same answer in the points, so 0.000544 mm. So write down the unit also, it is very important. Others, please check your answers, find out the epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z. And then these are the again three formulas for the epsilon x, epsilon y, and epsilon z. Epsilon x means change in dimension, epsilon y is related to the change in depth because it is along vertical axis, and epsilon z, along that your B parameter is present, that means width is present, therefore we have to calculate delta B. So like that we have to calculate the change in dimension. Yes, 5.44 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is correct. Try to represent in the point also. Both answers are accepted, no problem. So 0.0005 mm, this answer is also accepted. And 5.44 into 10 raised to minus 4, it is also accepted, no problem. Here the calculation part is very important. So please focus on the calculation. It is very simple to calculate. Okay, understood? Have you understood this particular part? Anybody is having any problem? You have not understood this particular part. So please ask me that particular problem. So we will resolve that particular issue here. Only we have to calculate the volumetric strain maximum. We have to calculate the change in volume. And sometimes we have to calculate this particular change in dimensions. Delta L, delta D, and delta B. Anybody is having any problem? You have not understood? 0.0010 is remaining. 0.000054. Shraddha, 0.000 is required because it is 10 raised to minus 4. Therefore, 0.
सर 3
Yes.
झिरोच आहेत टाइप करताना एक राहिला
Okay, okay. Now others, anybody is having any problem, please reply. If there is no any problem, We'll move to the next step. Yeah, I think there is no problem. It is very simple part. In the examination, maximum times the problem will be asked on the triaxial condition. If you are able to solve the problem based on the triaxial, remaining two cases we can solve very easily. That is uniaxial and the biaxial. Okay. So in this particular type, we have solved the problem related to the volumetric strain calculation for the case 1, 2, 3. Then we have calculated their change in volume, that is delta V, and today we have solved one problem related to the change in dimension calculations, in which we have calculated all the change in dimensions, that is delta L, delta B, and the delta D. So this is about the next type, whatever we have discussed related to the volumetric stress, volumetric strain, change in volume, and the change in dimension calculation. Okay, so I hope there is no any problem. If anybody is having any problem related to the calculation part or anything you have not understood, you can ask me anytime. I will explain the things once again. Okay, now we will move to the next part, that is, this will be the last part of this particular chapter number 1. But first of all, we have to derive the derivations, and then we have to solve the numericals based on this particular part. Okay. In the last 4 to 5 lectures, we have discussed related to the Young's modulus. There are total 3 elastic constants are there. One is a Young's modulus E, another is a modulus of rigidity G, or it is indicated by C, and third one is a bulk modulus K. So these are the 3 elastic constant which we have to consider in the solution of the numericals, and it represents the material properties. So up till now, what are the problems we have solved? In that, Young's modulus is equal to 200 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per mm square. This is the standard and constant value is given. We have to use that constant value as it is for our further calculation. So this is E. Young's modulus E is equal to stress upon strain. This is a common definition, but Young's modulus is equal to linear stress upon linear strain. Similarly, modulus of rigidity is equal to stress upon strain, which is equal to shear stress upon shear strain. And third one is a bulk modulus, which is K. K is equal to stress upon strain, but volumetric stress upon volumetric strain is called as a bulk modulus K. So whatever these 3 elastic constants are there, that 3 elastic constants are having some relations. That is relation between E and K. Mu is the constant parameter. Mu is applicable for all. The relation between E, K, and mu. Then relation between E, G, and mu. Then last relation we have to derive, that is relation between all the 3 elastic constants. That means relation between E, relation between G, and K. So that relation first of all we have to derive, and then we have to solve the numericals based on this. So the first relation is in front of you. What is the statement? That is the relation between Young's modulus E, bulk modulus K, and Poisson's ratio mu. Only 2 elastic constants are there. That is, first one is the Young's modulus E, indicated by capital E, then bulk modulus K, indicated by capital K, and this constant parameter mu is also present in the relation. That means we have to prove that E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. We have to obtain this particular derivation. We have to prove that E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. This particular derivation we have to derive, and this last derivation, this derivation represents the relation between Young's modulus E and bulk modulus K. But ह्याच्यामध्ये G कुठंच नाही, only E and K are present. That is, E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. Okay, so we have to derive this particular derivation. So this derivation is very simple. So for that purpose here, whatever the figure is in front of you, that figure represents A1 cube. All the dimensions are same. For example, I will give the name, that is, this is corner A, this is B, then this is C, and this is D. Okay, then at another side I will give, this is E, F, G, and H. That is one cube we have considered. That is, consider a cube A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So consider A1 cube. that is EB, CD, EF, GH, which is subjected to the stresses in all the three perpendicular directions. So I can consider one stress in x-axis, similarly at the another side, that is sigma. One stress is applied in x-axis. Similarly, one stress is applied in y-axis. This is sigma, and third perpendicular direction sigma z. Sorry, z. That is, this is also sigma. Here we have considered that a one cube A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, which is subjected to the stresses in all the three directions. Here, instead of representing the forces in X, Y, and Z direction, directly we have represented sigma is developed in X direction, another sigma is developed in Y direction, another sigma is developed in the Z direction. Sigmas are represented means this particular cube is already subjected to the some amount of force in X direction, some amount of force in Y direction, and some amount of force in Z direction. If there are no forces in all the three directions, no stresses are developed. But already we have made one assumption, already we have considered that this particular cube is subjected to the forces in X, Y, and Z direction, and due to the forces in all these three directions, it is subjected to the one stress in X direction, one stress in Y direction, and one stress is in the Z direction. Okay, now as this is considered as a cube, it is having the dimensions. The horizontal dimension is capital L is the length, then this width, again this will be considered as a length L, and this depth, again this will be considered as a length L. As it is considered as a cube, the dimensions of the cube in all directions, it will be remain same. Therefore, if I will write the volume of cube is equal to L into L into L is equal to L cube, means we are having the formula L into B into D. But here in this particular cube, your length is equal to length, already it is there, your length is equal to B and your length is equal to D. So the volume of the cube is equal to L into L into L, which is equal to L cube. Okay, so now first case number 1. Now I have to calculate the strain induced in the X direction. If I have to calculate the strain induced in X direction, and while calculating strain induced in X direction, consider that this particular sigma or force is also applied in only X direction. If I have to calculate epsilon x represents the strain induced in X direction. During calculation of epsilon x, I have to consider that the force is applied in only X direction. So means we can say that due to this epsilon x calculation, as the force is applied in X direction, the strain developed in the X direction will be the linear strain, and the strain developed in remaining two direction will be the lateral, means mu into sigma upon E minus mu into sigma upon E. Whatever the problem we have solved in the previous type, epsilon x is equal to sigma x upon E minus mu into sigma y upon E minus mu into sigma z upon E. Same formula is there. But in that particular numericals, we have represented the stresses in the form of sigma x, sigma y, and the sigma z. But here in this particular derivation, the stress in X direction is only sigma, stress in Y direction again it is represented by sigma, stress in Z direction again it is represented in the sigma only. We have not given sigma x, sigma y, and the sigma z, because here we are deriving the derivation, we are not solving the problem. Therefore, during the derivation, we are considering that this particular cube is subjected to the stress sigma in all the three perpendicular direction. Therefore, while calculating epsilon x, let us assume that the force applied in only X direction. Therefore, epsilon x is equal to linear strain in X direction plus lateral strain in Y direction plus lateral strain in Z direction. But here instead of plus, I have taken the negative sign, because in the y direction and in the z direction, your strain is goes on decreasing, means your depth and your this particular width is goes on decreasing. Therefore, negative sign indicates there is a decrease in strain, and these diastresses are considered as a linear strain, therefore multiplied by mu. Therefore, the modified steps I can write, if I will take the sigma upon E as a constant term, so in bracket it remains 1 minus 2 mu. So this is the equation number 1. So what I have taken this sigma upon E common. So from the first term sigma upon E common I have taken, only 1 is remaining. From second term sigma upon E I have taken outside the bracket. From third term again sigma upon E I have taken outside the bracket. So here minus mu, it becomes minus 2 mu. So this is the condition number 1 in which I have calculated the epsilon x. Similarly, if I have to calculate the epsilon y, so epsilon y is equal to, I will write the formula for your understanding, linear strain in y direction plus lateral strain in x direction plus lateral strain in z direction. So strain in the y direction is equal to, let us assume that strain in y direction we are calculating means the force is applied in only y direction, therefore the linear strain is developed only in the y direction, but due to the force applied in y direction, some amount of strain is also developed in x axis and z axis, therefore that strains are considered as a lateral strain. Therefore epsilon y is equal to linear strain in y direction will be considered as a sigma upon E, means we can consider sigma y upon E minus, why minus? Because this lateral strain induced in x direction it is decreases, therefore इथे ऍडिशन घेताना आपण ऍडिशन घेतलेलं आहे, पण जरी आपण ब्रॅकेट मध्ये मायनस दिले तर प्लस मायनस शेवटी काय होणार आहे, इथं मायनसच होणार आहे. therefore mu into sigma upon E, this sigma means your sigma x minus mu into sigma z upon E, this sigma z means your sigma z divided by E. Again here sigma upon E, sigma upon E, sigma upon E, this is the constant term, so I will take outside the bracket. Therefore epsilon y is equal to sigma upon E in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. This is the equation number 2. Okay, then third, epsilon z is equal to, means the force is applied in only z direction, means linear strain in z direction plus lateral strain in x direction plus lateral strain in y direction. Therefore epsilon z is equal to, linear strain means only sigma upon E, this sigma means your sigma z minus lateral, why it is minus, formula मध्ये घेताना प्लस घेतलेला आहे, but here we have taken minus because these are the lateral strain which are goes on decreasing, therefore mu into sigma upon E, this sigma means your sigma x, again minus mu into sigma upon E, again the sigma from the third term means your sigma y. Therefore epsilon z, again sigma upon E, sigma upon E, sigma upon E, this is the constant term, therefore sigma upon E in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. This is the equation number 3. So what we have calculated, equation number 1 means the strain induced in x direction, equation 2 means strain induced in the y direction, equation 3 means strain induced in the z direction. Whatever the numerical we have solved just now, that is change in dimension, same formulas are there, but in that particular numericals the formulas are represented in the form of sigma x, sigma y and the sigma z. But here we are deriving the derivation. During the derivation we have considered that that particular cube is subjected to the sigma stress in x, y, and the z direction. Therefore, for all the stresses, we have represented the sigma instead of sigma x, sigma y, and the sigma z. Now, this is the epsilon x, epsilon y, and the epsilon z strain we have calculated in the all the three directions. Now, if the total volumetric strain, the total volumetric strain in cube, the total volumetric strain in cube, if I have to calculate the total volumetric strain in cube, what will be the formula? काय असेल formula? Total volumetric strain is equal to what will be the formula if I have to calculate the total
Strain.
volumetric strain? Yes,
Strain x, strain y, strain z.
the strain induced in all the three directions represents the total volumetric strain, means epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z. So the total volumetric strain means strain induced in x direction plus strain induced in y direction plus strain induced in z direction, means your total volumetric strain, because in all the three directions strains are induced. Epsilon x represents the strain induced in x along length, epsilon y represents strain induced in y, means along depth, and epsilon z represents the strain induced along the z axis, means along the width, means it represents the total volumetric strain. Therefore, epsilon v is equal to, if I will put the values, epsilon x is equal to sigma upon e in bracket 1 minus 2 mu plus sigma upon e in bracket 1 minus 2 mu plus sigma upon e in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. Okay, so I have done the addition of all the strain whatever we have calculated, that is total volumetric strain is equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z. Now, epsilon v is equal to sigma upon e 1 minus 2 mu, sigma upon e 1 minus 2 mu, sigma upon e 1 minus 2 mu, means we can say that 3 sigma upon e in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. We have made the addition of all the three things. Therefore, 3 sigma upon e in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. Now, by rearranging the terms, I will rearranging the terms in the above equation. By rearranging the terms, you will get the above equation. Capital E I have taken to the left side. इकडच्या बाजूला ते डिवाइड आहे, इकडच्या बाजूला आला मल्टिप्लाय होणार, डिवाइडेड बाय 3 सिग्मा अपॉन EV in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. इकडच्या बाजूला EV, it is multiplied. If I have taken it to the right side, it becomes divide. Therefore, capital E is equal to, now tell me, sigma upon EV, this sigma means your volumetric strain. Sigma upon EV, this means your volumetric strain. EV, volumetric stress. EV means your volumetric strain. Now tell me, volumetric stress upon volumetric strain, it is called as a
Bulk
what is the
model.
definition? Bulk
Bulk
modulus.
modulus.
Therefore, 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. And in bracket, I can write K is equal to sigma V upon EV is equal to sigma. EV means your change in volume upon original value. आपण कुठला पण फॉर्म्युला घेऊ शकतो. सिग्मा V upon EV means your bulk modulus. Instead of writing the sigma V, if I will write the sigma only, then also it is accepted. So this is the first relation we have derived, the relation between the Young's modulus E and bulk modulus K. What is our solution? E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. And this is only our requirement, because in the statement, whatever the heading I have written, we have to prove that E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. So this is the first relation between the Young's modulus E, bulk modulus K, and Poisson's ratio mu. It is very simple how it is calculated. For the calculation, we have considered a one cube, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That cube is having all the three dimensions same, L, L, L. Okay, and this particular cube is subjected to the sigma amount of stress in X direction, Y direction, and the Z direction. So initially we have calculated its volume. Volume is equal to L cube. Then we have calculated strain in X direction. By using the formula linear strain plus lateral strain plus lateral strain, then we have derived the equation number 1. Then we have calculated epsilon y. Epsilon y means strain induced in y direction. We are having the formula here. Then we have calculated epsilon z, that is strain induced in z direction, and after that we have calculated the total volumetric strain in the cube. Total volumetric strain in the cube means strain induced in x direction plus strain induced in y direction plus strain induced in z direction. So whatever the value of epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z we have calculated, we have added. At the end we have done the addition, means 3 sigma upon E, and then to derive our final equation we have rearranged the terms. That is E I have taken to the left side, this epsilon V I have taken to the right side at the divide side, and from this particular term you will get the sigma V upon EV, and we know that sigma V upon EV means your bulk modulus, that is E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. So this is our first relation between Young's modulus E, bulk modulus K, and Poisson's ratio mu. So this relation should be at your tip of tongue, because based on this particular relation one numerical will be asked in the examination, as well as this derivation is also asked for the 7 or 8 marks. Sometimes the question will be asked like that: prove the relation between Young's modulus E, bulk modulus K, or sometimes prove that E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. Sometimes a big statement is given, what is the relation between Young's modulus E, bulk modulus K, and Poisson's ratio mu. Like the statement will be there, or sometimes very simple statement, prove that E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. So statement will be asked in the different manner, but we have to follow the same procedure. Whatever I have told you, within 1.5 page you will get the final answer, that is E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. So based on this particular point, numericals are also asked for 7 to 8 marks, or sometimes this relation derivation, it is also asked for the 7 to 8 marks in your final examination. Sometimes MCQ type questions are also asked in the examination. Following is the relation of Young's modulus E and bulk modulus K. मग तुम्हाला देताना E is equal to 3K in bracket 1 minus 2 mu, E is equal to 2K in bracket 1 plus mu, E is equal to 4K in bracket 1 plus 2 mu. Like that, 4 options are given in the different manner, and from that particular 4 options we have to choose the correct option to prove the relation. So based on MCQs, based on the derivation, based on the numericals, this particular derivation is important. Have you understood? Anybody is having any problem for this particular understanding?
No, sir.
Very simple derivation. Only we have to derive the equation 1, 2, 3. We have to make the addition, and then we have to rearrange the terms, and then you will get the final answer. It is very simple to calculate the epsilon x, epsilon y, and epsilon z. हे पाठ करायची गरज नाही. epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z ह्या व्हॅल्यू पाठ करायची गरज नाही. तुम्हाला इथे समजलं पाहिजे ह्या epsilon x ची व्हॅल्यू कशी आली. Why it is linear strain, then mu into sigma upon E. This is lateral strain. You have to understand this particular part. हे तुम्हाला पाठ करायची गरज नाही. तुम्हाला फिगर वरून तुम्हाला समजलं पाहिजे की कुठल्या डायरेक्शन मध्ये लिनियर स्ट्रेन आहे आणि राहिलेल्या कुठल्या 2 डायरेक्शन मध्ये लॅटरल स्ट्रेन आहे. So for that particular respective directions, use the value of linear and lateral and then prove the relations. Okay. Anybody is having any problem you have not understood? Have you understood all these particular things?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is the first relation between Young's modulus E, bulk modulus K. Okay. Now next relation we are having the relation between Young's modulus E, modulus of rigidity G or C. So whatever the modulus of rigidity is there, sometimes it is also called as a shear modulus. तसे Young's modulus ला आपण modulus of elasticity म्हणतो किंवा Young's modulus म्हणतो. Similarly to this modulus of rigidity, it is also called as a shear modulus, which is also indicated by capital G, or sometimes it is indicated by the capital C. So now we have to derive the relation, that is the relation between Young's modulus E and modulus of rigidity G. Again, the Poisson's ratio is present in the statement. That means we have to prove that E is equal to 2G in bracket 1 plus mu, or E is equal to 2C in bracket 1 plus mu. G or C, this is same, but because sometimes in the examination prove that E is equal to 2G in bracket 1 plus mu, so we can derive very easily. But sometimes they are asked prove that E is equal to 2C in bracket 1 plus mu. Sometimes students are in confusion, what is the C? But we have to remind that G is equal to your C, means your modulus of rigidity. Okay, so for this particular derivation, once again we have to consider one figure. So one figure is represented in front of you. So what that particular figure indicates, whether that figure is properly visible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what that particular figure indicates, here we have considered a one block, the block A, B, C and D. The block here A is present, B, then C and this particular D. Let us consider a block A, B, C, D, which is subjected to the shear stress which is applied from the left side. So here you can see at the left side, this is shear stress, and you can see the shear stress is parallel to the cross-sectional area. So whatever the top portion of this particular block ABCD is there, so this is the top portion AB. This shear stress is parallel to the cross-sectional area, and always you know that the tensile and compressive forces are always perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Therefore, tensile stresses, compressive stresses, which are also called as a direct and normal stresses, these stresses are perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. But here, whatever the shear force is applied, that shear force is always parallel to the cross-sectional area, and due to that particular shear force, whatever the stress is induced, that stress is called as a shear stress, and it is indicated by tau. So here whatever tau is indicated, this tau represents the shear stress, means already shear force is applied, and due to that particular shear force, this tau amount of shear stress is developed. That means this particular block A, B, C, D, it is subjected to the tau amount of shear stress which is shown in the figure. And in this particular figure, the bottom side is fixed. So whatever the side CD is there, this is CD, it is fixed at the bottom side. This hatching line represents the side CD is fixed and the top side is totally free. That means AB, this A and B are free at the top side, and this C and D, these are fixed at the bottom side. So what happened? Due to this shear stress is applied from the left side, the distortion of this particular block is taking place. That means deformation is taking place. That is, due to this particular shear stress, the deformation is taking place at the top side. That means from A, it becomes A dash, and from B, it becomes B dash. But the bottom side is totally fixed. Point C and point D, these are totally fixed. But at the top side, due to this particular shear stress, A is shifted from A dash, and this particular B, it is shifted from B dash. Therefore, here you will get one angle which is represented by phi. This phi is called as a shear strain. The phi is represented at the left side also. The phi is also represented at the right side also, because at the right side also your distortion is taking place from B to B dash, and here at the left side distortion is taking place from A to A dash. So, and in between, whatever this angle is there, this corner point, the point B and point D, this point B and this point D are joined by a one inclined line. That inclined line is called as a diagonal BD. You can see here, diagonal BD. This is diagonal BD. Already I have represented diagonal BD, and this angle is also represented 45 degree. This angle is also represented by the 45 degree. Also, to that particular diagonal BD, again one dashed line is also represented here. This is dashed line. this dashed line represents the deformed diagonal, which is represented by B dash D. Before application of shear stress, your diagonal is BD. After application of shear stress, the distortion is taking place from A to A dash, and at the right side B to B dash. Therefore, this diagonal is also shifted from B to B dash, and next modified diagonal you will get, it becomes B dash D after application of stress, and BD represents the diagonal before application of stress. Okay, then here I have drawn one vertical line. You will get this particular point M. You will get this particular point M, which is perpendicular to this particular diagonal B D dash, and here you will get one angle. This angle is equal to 45 degree. So whatever the diagonal is shifted from this particular point B, I have drawn one perpendicular line, and that particular perpendicular line is comes in contact with this particular diagonal B dash D, and you will get the another point, that is M. Okay, so in this particular figure, what happened? We have considered a block A, B, C, D, which is subjected to the shear stress from the left side. Okay, due to that particular shear stress, distortion is taking place from A to A dash and B to B dash. So due to that particular distortion, you will get one angle which is represented by phi, and that phi is called as a shear strain. In addition to that, before application of stress, your original diagonal is BD, but after the application of force, this point B is shifted from B to B dash. Therefore, you will get the new diagonal, which is represented by the dotted line, that is B dash D. Okay, then from this particular point B, I have drawn one perpendicular line, and that perpendicular line is comes in contact with this particular diagonal B dash D, and you will get the new point. And the two angles also we got. This is the 45 degree at this particular right side. This is also 45 degree. Now, if I will write that particular angles, for example, from the figure, the angle DBA is equal to 45 degree. So from the figure you can easily understood DBA, this angle is already represented on the figure, which is equal to 45 degree. Therefore, the angle DB dash A dash is equal to 45 degree. That means this is the angle before application of stress, that is angle DBA, original diagram. But after the application of shear stress, the distortion is taking place from A to A dash, distortion is taking place from B to B dash. Therefore, you will get one more angle. Point D is common for all. Therefore, angle D, B dash and A dash, again it is equal to 45 degree. Only there is a extension of that particular diagonal is taking place from BD to B dash D, otherwise their angles are remain same. त्यामुळे इथं पण तुम्हाला समजतंय angle DBA, BA is present before application of load, and after application of force B dash A dash is equal to 45 degree. Now, for our further calculation, let us apply Pythagoras theorem. Let us apply Pythagoras theorem in triangle. Let us apply Pythagoras theorem in triangle DBC. D means this corner point, this B means this point, and this C means this bottom points. You will get one right angle triangle, and in that particular right angle triangle, if I will apply the Pythagoras theorem, please tell me what will be the formula in angle DBC if I will apply the Pythagoras formula. What will be the Pythagoras formula in this particular triangle DBC?
DB square is equal to
Yes,
BC.
BD square is equal to means diagonal square plus is equal to
DC square plus DC
BC square plus
plus DC
DC
square.
CD square. बरोबर आहे. BD means your diagonalचा square is equal to first side plus second side दोन्हीचा पण square. So this is the Pythagoras theorem. You know about this particular Pythagoras theorem. If I have to calculate the BD square, the value of BC is already given at the right side. Here you can see AD is equal to BC. It is equal to X. AD is equal to BC is equal to X and AB is equal to CD. Already it is given. That means all the directions are same. That means BC is equal to X square plus CD is equal to X square. Means you will get BD square is equal to 2X square. And if I will take the square root of this particular, taking square root from both sides, so you will get the answer TD is equal to
2x
under root 2 into x. So this is the equation number 1. So value of BD, whatever the diagonal BD is there in this particular block ABCD, the value of that particular diagonal we have calculated from the Pythagoras theorem. So we have applied the Pythagoras theorem in triangle DBC, and from that particular theorem we got the magnitude of diagonal BD, and we have considered this as a equation number 1. Okay, this is equation number 1 we have calculated. Now just tell me from the figure, whatever the shear stress is applied from the left side, it consists of two diagonals, diagonal BD, and this particular diagonal AC is also there. If I will join point A and point this particular point C, so you will get the diagonal AC also. Already I have represented the diagonal BD. If according to the direction of force, whether diagonal BD is subjected to the tensile or compressive. According to the force applied from the left side, please tell me diagonal BD is under tension or compression.
Tension.
Tension, sir.
Tension, because here you can see due to the tau amount of force is applied from the left side, diagonal BD increases from BD to B dash D. बघा BD ची लेंथ बघा आणि B dash D ची लेंथ बघा. जो काही डायगोनल आहे डॉटेड लाईन इंडिकेट केलेला त्याची लेंथ आपल्याला काय झालेली दिसते, वाढलेली दिसते. मीन्स युअर डायगोनल BD इज सब्जेक्टेड टू द positive and your diagonal CD is under tension or compression. Sorry, diagonal AC, whether it is under tension or compression, here I have not drawn. But if I will draw, for example, this is diagonal AC before application of force, and another A dash C, if I will join, the length of diagonal AC is decreases or increases?
Decreases.
Is decreases, means diagonal AC or CA, it is subjected to the negative. This is just for your understanding, because these positive terms and negative terms we have to use for our further derivation. So please keep in mind, whatever the shear stress is applied from the left side, due to that particular shear stress, whatever diagonal BD is there, that diagonal BD is under tension, means we have considered it as a positive because there is an increase in length. But at the same time, whatever another diagonal CA or AC is there, it is under compression. Therefore, for the compression, we have considered as a negative, means diagonal AC goes on decreasing. Okay, so this is just for your understanding. Now, shear strain phi is equal to shear strain is equal to if I have to apply or if I have to calculate the shear strain from the particular figure. So this phi angle is present in this particular figure. So if I will apply the tan rule, tan phi is equal to, what will be the value tan phi is equal to for the calculation of shear strain? What is the rule of the tan phi? Yes, tan phi is equal to, what is the formula for the tan phi? If I have to calculate the phi angle, you know, it is represented on the figure. Tan phi is equal to front side upon adjacent side. What is the front side of the phi angle? A dash. What is the adjacent side? AD is equal to, at the another side, what is the front side of this particular phi angle? B dash. What is the adjacent side? BC. Getting? Tan phi is equal to A dash upon AD is equal to B dash upon BC. Which rule we have applied? We have applied the trigonometric rule of phi angle or the tan angle. What is the trigonometric rule of the tan? Front side upon adjacent side. Therefore, tan phi is equal to, front side is equal to A dash divided by adjacent side, this vertical distance AD. Similarly, at the another side also phi angle is present. So front side is equal to B dash, adjacent side is equal to original length BC. Therefore, from this particular term, I will take one term, tan phi is equal to B dash divided by BC. This vertical distance is already given in the figure, which is equal to X. Okay. So from this particular tan phi, I have calculated one term because B dash upon X, because I have to calculate the B dash. Therefore, I have taken this particular only B dash for our further calculation. As we know that the phi is very small, or it is in radian, very small value is there. Therefore, I can consider only phi is equal to B dash upon X. Therefore, B dash is equal to phi into X, equation number 2. So in the previous case, we have applied the tan rule. Tan rule is equal to front side upon adjacent side, which is equal to A dash upon AD is equal to B dash upon BC. I have to calculate the B dash value. Therefore, I have taken only tan phi is equal to B dash upon X. But as we know that whatever this phi angle is there, that phi angle is very small in magnitude, or it is measured in radian. So whatever the radian value is there, that radian value is very small. Therefore, whatever the tan is present in that particular formula, that tan we have neglected, and I have written the formula directly. Phi is equal to B dash upon X, and by rearranging the terms, I have calculated the value of B dash is equal to phi into X. So this is the equation number 2 I have written. Now equation 1, in equation number 1 we have calculated the value of diagonal BD, root 2 into X. Then by applying the tan rule, or by using the definition of shear strain, if I have to calculate the phi, now your shear strain is equal to B dash upon X, and by rearranging the terms, I have calculated the B dash, it is equal to phi into X. Now then, triangle in the figure, triangle BMB dash. So in the triangle BMB dash. So where is that particular triangle in the figure? You can see this B, original point, M. How this particular M point we got? We have drawn a one perpendicular line from this particular B, and that perpendicular line comes in contact with this particular dotted diagonal B dash D, and you will get one M point, and then we are having another point, that is B dash. That means in triangle BMB dash, we are having this particular angle. Already we have written the angle B dash A dash is equal to 45 degree. So in this particular triangle, if I will apply the cos 45 rule, cos 45. Why cos 45? Because 45 is the angle, and for our further calculation, if I will apply the cos rule, so what will be the cos rule? Please tell me. Cos rule formula काय असणार? Trigonometric formula. Cos theta is equal to, what will be the formula? Cos theta is equal to front side upon hypotenuse or adjacent side upon hypotenuse or front side upon adjacent side. What will be the formula? जसं tan चा rule सांगितला, tan phi or tan theta is equal to front side upon adjacent side. So similarly, what will be the cos rule? Adjacent side upon hypotenuse. So in this particular figure, what will be the adjacent side? Please tell me. What will be the adjacent side? 45 angle is present at the corner. Yes?
BM.
MB dash.
M B dash or B dash M we can consider. Okay? From the figure, if I will apply the cos rule in the figure, the adjacent side is equal to B dash M. And what will be the hypotenuse? Please tell me. Hypotenuse कुठला असणार आहे?
BB dash.
Yes? B dash, correct. B dash, or we can consider B dash B or B dash. Okay. Cos 45 is equal to adjacent side upon hypotenuse. So for that purpose, we have considered one triangle BMB dash. From the figure, we have applied the rule and we have calculated this particular value. What will be the value of cos 45? Can anybody tell me what will be the value of cos 45? Cos 45 ची व्हॅल्यू काय असते? Cos 45 is equal to 1 upon root 2. Please keep in mind, this is a standard value. Cos 45 is equal to 1 upon root 2. We have to calculate the B dash M and B dash. Already we have calculated as equation number 2. Therefore, phi into x I will write from equation 2. So whatever the B dash value is there, that B dash value we have kept from the equation number 2. And then if I have to calculate the value of B dash M is equal to phi into x divided by root 2. This is the equation number 3. What I have taken, I have to calculate the value of B dash M. So I have kept as it is. This phi into x is present at the right side, which is at denominator. If I will take this term to the left side, so for the left side it becomes multiply. Therefore, B dash M is equal to phi into x divided by root 2. So this is the equation number 3. Okay. Equation 1 we have calculated the value of BD. That is diagonal we have calculated. Equation 2 we have calculated the value of BB dash, which is required to put in this particular next equation, that is equation number 3. Now, then strain in DIA diagonal BD is given by strain in diagonal BD, that is E of BD is equal to change in strain चा फॉर्म्युला माहित आहे. Strain is equal to change in length upon original length. Change in length upon original length. This is the common formula, and this particular formula we have to apply for diagonal BD. Therefore, E of BD is equal to, tell me from the figure, what will be the change in dimension of diagonal BD? Change in dimension of the diagonal BD and original dimension. Original dimension पहिल्यांदा सांगा किती आहे. Original dimension is equal to original dimension of diagonal BD. How much? What is the distance? Original length of diagonal BD. BD. Original dimension of diagonal BD means your B and D distance, but what will be the change in length? Only change in length. I am not asking total length, only change in length from the
B dash
figure.
D.
B dash.
B dash D. D.
B dash.
This is the total diagonal length. I am asking only change in length of the diagonal BD.
B
B dash
B
B.
B dash M.
B dash M. See, BD is the original length. B dash D is the total length of diagonal BD after the deformation. But whatever this point M I have calculated, that is from this particular point B, I have drawn a one perpendicular line, and that particular perpendicular line is comes in contact with this particular diagonal B dash D, means your B dash M represents the change in dimension of the diagonal BD. B dash D ही टोटल लेंथ झाली, टोटल डिफॉर्मेशन झालेली म्हणजे ओरिजिनल लेंथ प्लस डिफॉर्मेशन लेंथ मीन्स total length after the deformation. But this B dash M, only B dash M represents the change in length, that is B dash M. समजले सगळ्यांना? चेंज इन लेंथ म्हणजे कुठली काढलेली आपण? B dash D ही टोटल लेंथ आहे बिफोर डिफॉर्मेशन अँड आफ्टर डिफॉर्मेशन, ह्या दोन्हीची जर बेरीज केली तर ती टोटल डायगोनलची लेंथ झाली. बट ऍज पर द फॉर्म्युला ऑफ द स्ट्रेन चेंज इन लेंथ अपॉन ओरिजिनल लेंथ, तर त्या डायगोनल बीडी ची किती लेंथ फक्त चेंज झालेली आहे तर बी डॅश एम एवढीच लेंथ त्याची काय झालेले चेंज झालेले. ओके, देअरफॉर ई ऑफ बीडी इज इक्वल टू बी डॅश एम. ऑलरेडी वी हॅव कॅल्क्युलेटेड व्हॉट इज द व्हॅल्यू ऑफ बी डॅश एम हियर फ्रॉम इक्वेशन 3, 5 into x divided by √2 into BD. What is the value of BD? Equation number 1 we have calculated. What is the value of BD? Equation number 1, √2 into x. Therefore, √2 into x. Okay, so this x from the denominator, 1x from the numerator, it will get cancelled. Therefore, E of BD is equal to √2 into √2. How much?
2.
√2 into √2 is equal to only 2. So you will get from equation 1 and equation 3. From equation 1 means we have kept the value of diagonal BD from equation number 1, and from equation 3 means we have kept the value of B dash M, means change in length, from the equation number 2, and you will get the strain is equal to, strain in the diagonal BD is equal to 5 upon 2. This is the equation number 4. Okay, so this is the equation number 4. Again, now this is the equation number 4 we have calculated. Now the diagonal, as we have discussed, the diagonal BD is subjected to positive shear stress and AC is subjected to negative shear stress. You can see in the particular figure मध्ये जर तुम्ही बघितलं, whatever the shear stress is applied from the left side, due to that particular shear stress, the length of diagonal BD is goes on increasing, means it is subjected to the positive shear force, increasing length, it is under tension. But due to the same stress, whatever diagonal AC is there, that diagonal AC is under the compression, means it is negative, means there is a decrease in stress or there is a decrease in dimension, means diagonal BD it is subjected to the positive shear stress, and diagonal AC it is subjected to the negative shear stress. Means what happen, some amount of stress induced or some amount of strain induced along diagonal BD as well as strain induced in diagonal AC also. Therefore, if I have to calculate again strain in the diagonal BD only. If I have to calculate the strain in diagonal BD, so here tau upon E, it represents the linear strain induced in the diagonal BD minus, in bracket, minus mu into tau upon E. So what it represents? As per the formula, here I will write E of, or total strain. This is not E. Total strain induced in the block. If I have to calculate that, therefore total strain is equal to strain induced along diagonal BD minus strain induced along diagonal AC. If I have to calculate the total strain induced in this particular bar ABCD, so total strain is indicated by small e, therefore total strain is equal to E of BD minus E of AC. E of BD, it is positive. E of AC, it is under the compression. Therefore, the total strain induced is equal to E of BD minus E of AC. And that E of BD is represented by sigma upon E, means E is equal to, or we can consider tau upon E. This is the linear strain induced along diagonal BD. This minus sign as it is, in bracket, minus mu into tau upon E. Why this minus mu? Because there is a decrease in dimension for diagonal AC. For diagonal BD, there is an increase in dimensions, means increasing diagonal BD, therefore plus tau upon E. This minus sign represents, we have to calculate the original strain induced in that particular section, therefore this minus sign, and in bracket minus mu into tau upon E. This tau upon E, this is common, this is minus term, minus mu means there is a decrease in dimension of diagonal AC. And why this particular mu? Because this mu represents the lateral condition, because whatever the force is applied, whatever the tau is applied, that tau is applied along the diagonal BD, therefore BD is increases, but the force is not applied along diagonal AC, therefore AC is decreases. Therefore this minus sign for the decrease in dimension, and this mu sign represents the lateral strain induced in the diagonal AC. Therefore the total strain is equal to, so what I will do, if I will take this particular tau upon E, this is common, so in bracket remaining 1 plus mu. This minus ही स्टेप काय होणार आहे तुमची बघा इथं, tau upon E minus plus काय होणार आहे, mu into tau upon E. So tau upon E I have taken outside the bracket, therefore mu into tau upon E. Tau upon E in bracket 1 plus mu. So this is the equation number 5. So this strain indicates the strain induced or total strain induced in that particular section, or we can consider the total strain induced in diagonal BD. आपण सबट्रॅक्शन करतोय म्हणजे काय करतोय, त्या टोटल सेक्शन मधला आपण स्ट्रेन काय करतोय, फाइंड आउट करतोय. Therefore from equation 4 and equation 5, from equation 4 and equation number 5, so here what is your E is equal to, here from equation 4 and equation number 5, this E means your E is equal to 5 divided by 2. Same equation I am writing, the strain induced in diagonal BD. It is also represented by small e, which we have calculated by the strain induced in the diagonal BD, which is represented by the 5 by 2. Similarly, equation number 5, the total strain induced in that particular section, again which is represented by small e. But from equation 4 and equation number 5, the left hand sides are equal. From equation number 5, left side, here also E is present, here also E is present. If the left sides are equal, the right side are also equal. Therefore 5 divided by 2 is equal to tau upon E in bracket 1 plus mu. Left hand sides are equal, therefore their right hand sides are also equal, means LHS is equal to right hand, left hand side is equal to right hand side. Okay, so phi upon 2 is equal to tau upon E in bracket 1 plus mu. That term we have calculated. Now by rearranging the terms, again by rearranging the terms, so we are having phi by 2 is equal to tau upon E in bracket 1 plus mu. Okay, so what I will do by rearranging the terms, this E, I will write the equation in the form of E. I have taken to the left side. इकडच्या बाजूला डिनॉमिनेटरला, इकडच्या बाजूला ते आल्यानंतर न्यूमरेटरला होणार. ओके, tau into 2 divided by 5. This 2, it is present at the left side. If I have taken it right side, it becomes numerator, or it will goes to the numerator and it will become multiply in bracket 1 plus mu. This 5 is present at the left side at the numerator. If I will take at the right side, here it will get divide. Now E is equal to, now tell me the ratio of tau upon phi. Tau means shear stress, phi means shear strain. So ratio of shear stress upon shear strain is equal to, what is the formula? Ratio of shear stress upon shear strain is equal to modulus of rigidity is equal to shear stress upon shear strain. Therefore E is equal to 2G in bracket 1 plus mu, because G is equal to C is equal to shear stress upon shear strain. Therefore E is equal to 2C in bracket 1 plus mu. So this is about the relation between Young's modulus E, modulus of rigidity G, or it is called as a C. Getting? So what we have done in this particular formula, here we have considered a one block ABCD. That ABCD block is subjected to the tau amount of shear stress. So due to that particular tau amount of shear stress, distortion is taking place from A to A dash and B to B dash. So due to that distortion, you will get this particular phi angle. Okay. Before application of force, one angle is represented 45 degree. Here, after application of force, same angle is represented by the 45 degree. Now, I have to calculate the length of diagonal BD. So for that particular calculation, I have applied one Pythagoras theorem in that particular angle DBC. And by applying the Pythagoras theorem, I have calculated the value of BD, means value of diagonal BD, which is represented by the equation number 1. Okay. Then we know that the shear strain, which is indicated by the phi. Okay. Here you will get the two angles phi. So if I will apply the tan phi rule, so tan rule is equal to front side upon adjacent side, means A dash upon AD is equal to B dash upon BC. त्यातला फक्त मी एकच बाजू घेतली कुठली B dash, कारण तो पॅरामीटर मला फाइंड आउट करायचा. Therefore tan phi is equal to B dash upon X. Then phi angle is very small, it is measured in radian. So this particular tan term, it becomes negligible, and phi is equal to B dash upon X. मग term मी rearrange केल्या आणि दुसरं इक्वेशन काढलं, B dash is equal to 5 into X, equation number 2. Similarly, from that particular figure, whatever the new angle we got, B dash M, नवीन अँगल जो मिळाला होता, त्याच्यामध्ये आपण कुठला रूल अप्लाय केला तर cos 45, and cos theta is equal to adjacent side upon hypotenuse. Therefore adjacent side will be the B dash M, hypotenuse will be the B dash. So cos 45 means 1 upon root 2. B dash M we have to calculate, I have kept as it is. Then B dash already we have calculated from equation number 2. So phi x I have written, and then I have written the equation number 3 by rearranging the terms, that is B dash M is equal to 5 into X divided by root 2. Then I have calculated the strain induced in diagonal BD. So strain induced in diagonal BD means, as per the definition, change in length upon original length. So diagonal ची original length किती आहे? BD चा आहे. तर त्याची change in length, फक्त change in length I am asking. I am not asking the total change in length. So I am interested to find out only change in length, and from the figure we will get the B dash M. So I have kept the value of B dash M, which is equal to strain induced along the diagonal BD. So B' ची व्हॅल्यू आपण इक्वेशन नंबर 3 पासून पुट केली. निस्ता BD म्हणजे डायगोनल त्याची पण व्हॅल्यू आपल्याला इक्वेशन 1 नुसार माहित आहे. दिस x it will get cancelled, only remaining terms 5 divided by 2, and the strain induced in diagonal BD it will represent the total strain induced along that particular direction. Means E of BD is equal to total strain, which is equal to 5 upon 2, equation number 4. Then if I have to calculate the correct length, or if I have to calculate the correct strain induced in the diagonal BD, correct strain means total strain induced in that particular diagonal BD means strain induced along diagonal BD minus strain induced along diagonal AC. म्हणजे BD डायगोनल मध्ये इंड्यूस झालेल्या स्ट्रेन मधून जर आपण AC मधला जर स्ट्रेन सबस्ट्रॅक्ट केला तर आपल्याला त्या टोटल बॉडीमध्ये किती स्ट्रेन मिळतोय इट कॅन बी calculated. Therefore, total strain is equal to E of BD minus E of AC. So E of BD means linear strain because tau upon E, only tau upon E, and it is positive. Why? Because the shear stress is applied along the diagonal BD. Therefore, it is subjected to the positive shear stress. Therefore, positive shear stress upon shear strain minus. This minus sign represents the subtraction of E of BD minus E of AC in bracket minus mu into tau upon E. This mu represents the lateral strain due to which there is a decrease in dimension. Diagonal AC चे dimensions काय होते? Decrease होते. Therefore, here I have taken the minus sign and this mu represents the lateral strain. आपण त्या डायरेक्शन मध्ये डायगोनलच्या AC च्या डायरेक्शन मध्ये आपण स्ट्रेस अप्लाय केलेला nahi. Therefore, this is mu. So this minus minus here it becomes plus, and then I have taken this tau upon E outside the bracket. You will get the equation number 5. So if I will compare the equation number 4 and equation number 5, their left hand sides are equal. Therefore, their right hand side also becomes equal. Then by rearranging the terms, I have written the equation in the form of capital E. So this 5 2 I have taken to the right side, and finally you will get the answer in the form of tau upon 5. Tau means shear stress, 5 means shear strain. So ratio of shear stress upon shear strain is called as a modulus of rigidity, which is represented by capital G, or sometimes it is represented by the capital C. Therefore, we have proved that E is equal to 2G in bracket 1 plus mu, and E is equal to 2C in bracket 1 plus mu. So this is the derivation of relation between Young's modulus E, modulus of rigidity G or C, and Poisson's ratio mu. Getting all of you? Have you understood how it is to be calculated? फक्त काय केलं याच्यामध्ये एकावरून एक व्हॅल्यू काढले, ती व्हॅल्यू पुढच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये पुट केली. परत दुसरा कन्सेप्ट वापरून एक व्हॅल्यू काढले, ती व्हॅल्यू पुढच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये पुट केलेलं आहे. परत आपण डायगोनल बीडी मधला स्ट्रेन काढला, तो टोटल स्ट्रेन कन्सिडर केला. परत सबस्ट्रॅक्शन करून टोटल स्ट्रेन काढला, एसीचा सबस्ट्रॅक्ट करून टोटल स्ट्रेन काढला, ते एक इक्वेशन काढलं, दोन्ही इक्वेशन कम्पेअर केले, अँड फायनली वी हॅव डिराइव्ड दी डेरिव्हेशन्स. समजलंय सगळ्यांना हे डेरिव्हेशन? Yes. Have you got this particular derivation? Anybody is having any problem? Please ask me. If there is no problem, you can say the no problem, or if you have understood, please say the reply yes, so I can understood that it is understood to you all. So this particular detailed derivation, it is given in the notes. So maybe by today evening, up to the today evening, I will send the notes of the chapter number 1 on your group, so you can refer that particular notes for your better understanding. Okay, so I hope everyone has given the reply no problem. Some of you have given the reply yes. So I hope it is understood to all. If anyone, if you have not understood, please ask the question now, or you can ask the question after finishing the lectures. I will explain the things once again. But derivation is very simple. The process is very lengthy, but it is very simple. Initially, we have applied Pythagoras theorem. Then I have applied the tan theta rule. Then I have applied the cos theta rule. Then I have applied the strain formula to find out the strain in the diagonal BD. Again, I have applied the strain formula by making the subtraction in one direction, in another direction, and then I have rearranged the terms. Only this much part is there. It is very lengthy, but it is very simple to the understood. So please focus on the steps. Which parameter first of all we have to calculate it, and how it is kept into the next parameter. Then how to calculate the next parameter. Then again we have to put the previous value. Then we have to calculate the next parameter. So like that we have to go for the solution. If you have not understood, then today we will stop here. In the next lecture we will solve the numericals. So now I request all the students, please type your roll number in the chat box for your attendance. It is your responsibility to type your roll number. If you are not typing, your absentee will be considered. So please just type your roll number like SB 59, SB 42, SB 4, like this. Type your roll number and you can leave the meeting, no problem. Remaining all, please type your roll number. Who is SB 26? Who is SB 26? SB 26. Remaining three: Shinde, Mukesh, Laute. Type your roll number and you can leave the meeting. Remaining two: Mukesh and Gorakh. Mukesh Natikar, please type your roll number. Yes, Satya Ashutosh.
सर ते प्रेझेंट राहिले.
Type your number. Mukesh Natikar, are you there in the meeting?